Welcome to another episode of Ask the Psychologist with Ms. Hana Haniffa. Today, we are here to talk about something that is a growing concern among most of us: stress. Children and adults both experience stress equally in today's society. So, let's learn more about what it is and how we could cope with it. Hi, Miss Hannah. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi. So, I'm a lecturer in psychology with a master's degree in psychotherapy and counseling and a bachelor's degree in psychology. I've been teaching psychology at various institutions around Sri Lanka for the past 13 years. And I've been working with various programs ranging from diplomas to even master's degrees in psychology, education, counseling, early childhood, and a few others. I'm also the founder of Easy Education, where we offer customized workshops and training programs for schools, colleges, and universities, and the corporate sector as well.
What is stress?
So, stress is something that we experience when we are under a lot of pressure, feel overwhelmed, or we find it difficult to cope with our day to day work or day to day activities. Some small amount of stress is actually good for us. But when it comes to a point where there is stress to such an extent where it is something that we are unable to control, it can start impacting our mood, our physical well being, and our mental well being, plus relationships in a negative manner. It affects us a lot, quite a lot physically, emotionally, and it could, of course, vary in terms of intensity from person to person. A lot of research has actually shown that stress can sometimes be positive because it often makes us more alert and also helps us perform better in certain situations. But stress has also been found to be beneficial if it is short-lived only. So if you're stressed out for a very long period of time, and you're stressed out maybe for a good reason because you have something that you want to finish, like an exam, or you're working on some project, it could be okay if it is a short period of time. However, if it becomes your lifestyle, where you experience stress for a prolonged period of time, it can start to become a negative impact. So, excessive or prolonged stress can lead to illnesses like heart diseases, mental health issues, where you start experiencing symptoms of anxiety or symptoms of depression, and many other concerns as well. During situations that make you feel threatened or upset, your body also creates a stress response. So, when there is some level of threat or some level of concern that literally upsets you, your body starts to fight. Your body starts to respond to that, trying to protect you. But when that kind of starts becoming more intense, it starts to negatively affect you as well. So, this in return can cause changes in how you behave or experience in most intense situations. So, overall, it is always beneficial to keep stress under control and be mindful of what level of stress you experience as a person.
What is stress in children like?
Stress in children is somewhat the same, except that certain symptoms or certain causes, certain experiences children have would be different to what adults feel. So most children experience stress when they cannot cope up with anything that is threatening them, difficult or painful. Some of these symptoms would include negative thoughts or feelings about themselves. It could be when their bodies are starting to change, especially during puberty. So they won't be able to accept the changes that are occurring. They might be finding it threatening, or they might be finding it difficult to accept. So they start feeling very stressed out. They start feeling very upset about their appearance. Some children experience stress during exams or homework and things like that, and the overall demands of education and it tends to kind of get worse as they get older sometimes, as school can get a bit more demanding as they get older in higher grades. Children also experience problems with friends at school and have trouble socializing. So sometimes it is stressful to make friends or keep their relationships with their friends going. They could also sometimes have some conflicts between friends, and they might have some trouble um, kind of keeping up with the demands of their peers and the demands of school and homework and all the other pressures that they might have as a society. There could be big changes like moving homes, changing schools, or even separating from parents. Now, this separation could come in the form of maybe a parent leaving to a foreign country for work. It could be separating from parents because they move out of a city. It could also be separation as a result of a divorce or a family separation as well. So children often find it difficult to cope up with these situations that are suddenly changing, right? And that are suddenly becoming more stressful, and they're unaware as to how they could deal with it or they could face them. And some children even find it difficult to cope with such small things like moving to a new house, right? Settling in, or finding your most favorite room, or setting up your room. Even those little changes could be a bit more stressful for some children. The other common concern is chronic illnesses or financial issues in the family, or even the death of a loved one. So children could experience stress if they experience a chronic condition following a diagnosis of a chronic condition, or they find out that their parents or a loved one has been diagnosed with a chronic condition. Financial issues in the family can also start affecting a child's understanding of it, and they could feel a lot of anxiety, not knowing how they would deal with life, how things have changed, the uncertainties of the financial issues, and how it's going to affect their future. All of this could also lead to a stressful situation unless the parent really talks about it and opens up about the situation and shares what's going on. So it's most often the unknown that creates the anxiety and that creates the stress in children. So it's often helpful when they kind of know what is going on as well. The other thing is unsafe environments at home or in the neighborhood. So some children live in conditions which are pretty unsafe for children. It could be that there might be people that could harm them or substances that could harm them, or there could be events or situations that could create some unsafety. So domestic violence, drug abuse, alcohol use, various other conditions within the family or the neighborhood could create unsafe environments at home. And at the school, they might be unsafe because there could be incidents of bullying, harassment, or other forms of abuse through uh, peers or like through classmates, or even through the school system itself. So these things could also create a very stressful scenario for children.
What are some signs that can be seen in children who are undergoing stress?
Yeah, so when children undergo stress, they usually start experiencing trouble in breathing, so usually very shallow breathing, an increased heart rate, or sweating. They could also experience headaches, dizziness, or complain about having trouble falling asleep. Or you will notice them as a parent, you will start noticing that they find it difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep. So, difficulty with sleep. They could also experience digestive problems. So problems with indigestion or nausea. So keeping food down might be a bit of trouble. Or digesting the food that they ate could also be a little. The other thing could be problems with their body weight. So weight gain or weight loss, because they experience more eating habits or less eating habits, as their appetite would also change. Um, it could also be aches and pains, or they would fall sick more often. There are various issues kind of related in that same realm, because the moment the appetite changes, they will also start experiencing um, trouble with, maintaining a healthy physical body. So they will experience, aches and pains as a result of being weak, or it might be because of the excess weight gain. There might be trouble in their joints, so there might be more pain. And they would also fall sick more often as a result of problems related to maybe immunity. There could be low on immunity because of the lack of nutrition. And also, there could be um, lacking nutrition as a result of overeating or excessive consumption. The other thing is something that is very noticeable in children is that children suddenly become very irritable and angry. So most of them would experience irritability and anger, and would also lead to temper tantrums that we call, right? So they'll be very regular, and they will start experiencing a lot of frustration or irritability as a result of anything and everything that happens around. And this could lead to quite a lot of concerns when it comes to socializing, bonding with family and siblings, bonding with friends and friends as a whole. So, uh, because of how they feel, right, as the irritability or the anger, they could often try to withdraw from family or friends, and they would want to isolate themselves, which is a warning sign as well. Some children neglect responsibilities. They'll have lower efficiency at tasks, and they will also have difficulty in concentrating. So as a result, academic performance will start to drop. They will start experiencing trouble at school, trouble concentrating, maybe not complete homework, or not respond to questions in class, not take part in class activities. So the overall academic performance will start dropping, because they're starting to neglect their responsibilities, like completing homework on time, keeping up with time schedules, or maintaining the performance rate in the classroom. So as a result, you'll start noticing that children aren't doing so well in class. The next thing is emotional distress, such as continuously feeling sad or being fearful. So they could also be tearful as a result of it. So they will be feeling very sad, scared, and also very nervous about things. So there's a lot of distress as a result.
So, what are some ways to help children cope with stress?
Um, Children could cope with stress by basically kind of working well with the family. So parents and teachers play a big role in helping children cope with stress. They can't do it on their own most often, but they'll be able to do it better when there is family support. So one of the first things as parents need to do is to spot the triggers. So help your child recognize and kind of begin to track the times they felt stressed out, or they could also kind of look for patterns in how they kind of reacted in a situation. So this kind of helps the child also recognize when they're starting to feel stressed. So they could take time off and kind of step away so that they could relax. So recognizing that something is stressful, recognizing the situation that is stressful, tracking the times you felt stressed. Like every time I have math homework, I feel stressed, right? Every time I have to go down for PT, I feel stressed out. So recognizing the incidents where it kind of starts, and also to recognize patterns. Okay, every time I do X, Y, and Z, I start experiencing stress. So this helps them recognize the triggers of stress, and either they could avoid those scenarios, or they could find a way to work with it. So they would find a way to manage their triggers and manage their emotions around those incidents, because certain events like math classes or your science classes are not something that you could avoid, right, and stay away from. So there has to be a resolution to it. So sometimes as parents, you will also be able to find a way to help them and find out what is going on. So is it the teacher? Is it the subject? Is it the homework? Is there something else going on that is causing this stress, causing this problem? And it is becoming a trigger. So help them spot the triggers. That's one of the best things you can do to first support your child with this. The second thing is to respond with unconditional love, giving your child that extra time, attention, and care. Monitor the child to make sure that this stress is not starting to affect their overall health, their overall behavior, feelings, or thoughts. And please make sure to make time to listen to your children and give them that space so that they're able to create that, so that you're able to create that environment where they feel safe to speak out and that they know that they're being heard. That is the biggest key. Right? So most children are never heard. They're never, they're never given a chance to express themselves. And this itself can be pretty difficult. They'll start bottling emotions up. And there's only a certain amount of space that you can bottle things into. Right? So once that overflows, then the child is affected. So sometimes it's a little too late to even start helping because the child is already affected. So the response with love is an all-time thing. It's not only when the child is undergoing stress, but this is something that should be an ongoing thing that every parent should do, where you provide your child with unconditional love and listen. Listen to what your child has to say about school, about teachers, about homework, about activities, about friends, about everything, their likes, dislikes. That way the child is heard, that way the child is able to communicate, and he or she knows that he can come to you when there is a problem. And last but not least, promote positive thinking. It is easy for children, especially teenagers, to start thinking poorly of themselves, right? When it comes to appearance, their performances, their abilities, they start thinking very negatively or poorly of themselves. So if you start hearing statements like, I'm not good at anything, I don't like myself, I'm scared to go out, ask them what makes them feel that. And please remind them that, this is not how they should be feeling. And there has been times where they have accomplished things so well, they've done so well in life, and bring them to a point where they are reminded of those things and ask them how they felt at that, which would have been very positive. So bring back those positive thinking, bring back those times when they have been positive and they have been capable of being successful. And this in return will lead to a lot of changes in the way they see themselves and will make them feel more comfortable and more happier of themselves as a whole.
How is stress in adults different from stress in children?
The stress in adults is different from children because the causes of stress in adults are far more different than to what causes stress in children. So some areas are the same, some areas are slightly different. So ultimately, we all kind of experience the same level of stress or the same type of stress. But the way we balance our life, our health, our well-being, and all these factors play a role in how much and how differently we experience stress from children. The causes certainly play a big role. As for children, it might be something like, school homework, school stress, peer pressure, peer activities, socializing with friends, things like that. Whereas as an adult, you might experience stress because of work pressure, family issues, financial concerns, the changing economy, the constantly changing economy, right? So there could be various factors that would change the way adults experience stress on a day-to-day basis. So while it affects each and every one of us differently as adults. There are certain common signs and symptoms that you can keep an eye out for. Adults usually start feeling constant worry or constant anxiety about one or more factors that affects their life. They also start feeling being overwhelmed with the workload, the pressure, or the expectations of anything like work, at home, the society. So there's a large feeling of overwhelmedness and the pressure that adults experience. They also experience trouble in concentrating. So concentrating in work, concentrating in studies, uh, concentrating while even like day-to-day things like driving and things. There's a lot of trouble focusing on one activity or one thing at a time. They experience mood swings or changes in mood quite often. They also experience irritability or have short temper like children do. They find it difficult to relax. They may experience symptoms of depression or feelings of depression. There could be a feeling of low self-esteem, appetite related issues, digestion related issues, so eating more or eating less than usual, changes in sleep habits, so either excessive sleep or little to no sleep. Many people experience trouble falling asleep, while some experience trouble falling asleep and staying asleep. So you wake up constantly or frequently, rather, during the night. You don't stay asleep for anything more than an hour, so you're in and out of your sleep. So that makes you literally very tired and lethargic when you wake up the next day. And people also find it difficult to stay fit as a result. So your body starts to respond to the lack of sleep. The other thing is excess use of alcohol, tobacco, or illegal drugs to find means of relaxation. So when you can't relax naturally, when you find it difficult to relax naturally, then you seek other means of finding relaxation, right? So finding ways to relax. So alcohol or tobacco, other types of drugs that seemingly bring in, a better sense of relaxation or better sense of, calmness is something that a lot of people resort to, which is extremely dangerous and extremely unhealthy. Many people experience aches and pains, particularly a lot of muscle tension. So muscle tension around the shoulders, the neck, or the lower back, and other parts of the body where you start feeling a lot of tensed feelings and tightness in the muscles. And as a result, you could feel a lot of pain as well. Diarrhea or constipation. So some people may have excess need to visit the restroom, while the others feel very constipated and find it difficult to digest the food that they consume. So there's a lot of uneasiness and pain as a result. Feelings of nausea or dizziness, and also the loss of sex drive. So there could be a lot of trouble in relationships. There could be a lot of trouble as a result, could lead to unhappy marriage lives, or it could lead to relationship trouble. So as a result, this becomes a circle where one causes the other and the other causes the same again. So basically you're stressed out. As a result, you're irritable or angry, or you don't have the desired sex drive. You have family conflicts. Family conflicts leads to more stress, and it keeps going in a circle. So it's a vicious cycle that we get ourselves into. And unless you find your way out of it, it could lead to severe consequences with mental health, physical health, social relationships, family, friends, job, everything. So it is very, very important to seek help as soon as you start noticing these symptoms. And it is important to start finding ways to make yourselves, calm and relaxed as much as possible. So find out what coping strategies best work for you, so that you're able to find something that best works for you. So you're constantly working on it, and you're making sure that you're finding ways to calm yourself or relax yourself.
Right. So, what are some good coping strategies to follow?
There are many coping strategies, in fact, to relax yourself and to deal with day-to-day stress. It, of course, varies from person to person and depends on the preferences each person has as well. Sometimes it could also vary by the level of stress that you experience and also the causes of stress. So we have identified a few strategies that kind of works for everyone and is also easy to follow for everyone. So one of the things that all of us could do is take deep breaths. One of the things that happen when you're stressed out is that you forget to breathe sometimes. You forget to take deep breaths. So unintentionally or unconsciously, our body is starting to run low on oxygen. We breathe. That's what, of course, keeps us alive, right? But we forget to take deep breaths sufficiently to inhale the necessary amount of oxygen, bring in that energy. So that also kind of creates this lethargy and uneasiness in the body. So taking deep breaths whenever possible is one of the best strategies to help you deal with stress. Second thing could be going for a walk. Something simple, right? Just stop whatever you're doing, get out of the house and go for a walk for at least 15 minutes and come back and kind of restart what you were doing. Aromatherapy seems to help as well. Creativity, do something fun. Get those paintbrushes out, do something with your children, do something alone. Right? Get something done that is creative, that is your product, your activity, right? Your time out. Healthy diet is another option. Eat healthy, find food sources that'll make you feel comfortable, that'll make you happy, and at the same time is a happy, healthy diet. So lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of nuts and grains. So something that is healthy should be included. Get involved in leisure activities as much as possible. Make time for that. Make sure that you get involved. Positive self-talk. Tell yourself of your accomplishments. Remind yourself of your accomplishments. Talk to yourself positively and remind yourself that it's important to remember what you have done, what you're capable of, and how good you have been in the past. So constant reminder, constant positive self-talk will help you also identify your strengths and identify strategies to kind of remind you of what you're really capable of and what you're able to achieve. Yoga, another way to get yourself to relax and de-stress. Gratitude. So maintaining a gratitude journal, maintaining something where you can write down things that you are thankful, the things that you have had, things that you experience on a day-to-day basis. Everything from the very basics. You have clean air, you have clean water, you have a house that you could live in, you have your own space, you have a job, little things that you're grateful for, right? So it may not sound as something important to remember, right? But these are the things that we have to be grateful for because these are the things that keep us going. Right? Do you have 3 meals a day? Do you have a house to live in? Do you have clean and running water? All these things are something that we have to be constantly thankful and we have to express our gratitude. So it usually helps. So maintain a journal, write down the things that you are really grateful for and express your gratitude. Exercise, regular exercise, at least 30 to 40 minutes a day will keep you going for sure, right? So making sure that you have one form of the other, right? It could be walking, could be getting to the gym, it could be doing basic exercises at home, whatever it might be. Engage in at least 30 to 40 minutes of exercise every single day. Evaluating your priorities. So kind of managing your tasks so that you don't end up having to do a lot and everything on the same day and feel overwhelmed and stressed out. Prioritize activities. What is more important than the other? So push that to the front of the list, to the top of the list, and get to that first, complete that, finish it off, check it out of your list. So prioritize all the activities. So list out everything that you need to do. Out of that list, start ranking them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So then you kind of see where the balance is and you see how many things are urgent, how many things could wait, and you get to them one by one thing at a time. So that way you're not pressuring yourself to do everything else. Get some social support. Right? So get your friends and family to help out wherever it's possible. Go out, meet with them, talk to them, be with people. It also makes you feel happier and healthier. So if you don't have many friends or family nearby, go out to social places, make connections, form networks, and build relationships. Work on that more consciously and start building up new networks so that you have people to call up, have a time set up to go out for a cup of coffee, meet with people, and, make friends. So it's very, very important to build that social support and that social network so that you're constantly connected to your friends and family.
Subscribe to our channel and watch more of our Ask a Psychologist interview sessions. You can also drop your questions in the comments and we will answer them in our next video.